The first bit of stitching that we're going to do is stay stitching on the front lining and back lining. And what this is a line of stitching that we're going to run along the curved portion of the front. So you can see it's the top curved portion is where we're going to stay stitch. And you just run the stay stitching inside of the seam allowance. So because the seam allowance on this pattern is 1/2 inch, I'm going to run a line of stitching at 3/8 of an inch using a normal stitch length. And what this does is just prevents this curved portion of our seam from stretching out while we are working with the fabric. So it's the very first thing that you want to do when you pick up any pattern piece that has a curved edge. And you can see that what I have done is start at the top of the curve and stitch down to the middle, and then I'm going to repeat from the other side. Repeat the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're stopping exactly in the middle, but the reason that I'm starting from the top and sewing down in both instances is that this helps prevent this seam from stretching out by sewing. If we were to start on one side and sew all the way to the other, it can stretch the seam the direction that we're sewing. So that's why we start on the outsides and stitch our way down to the center. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that line of stay stitching on the front, the back, the front lining, and the back lining. And then once we've done that, we can start actually working with our pattern pieces and sewing real sewing seams. The final stay stitching that you want to do is going to be on the curved part of the front pieces that we have gone ahead and cut out. And so it's just like stitching the top. I'm going to go ahead and start from one side, or sew to about the center, and then stitch the other direction. And this happens just on the front. And again, this is to keep this from stretching out while we're manipulating the fabric.